Welcome to the Car Guys and welcome to a very wet and windy Meridien Modena here in Lyndhurst. This week it's all about my 812 Superfast. What on earth has happened to it? Now, finally, I'm ready to reveal the truth. Are you ready for this? And I'd like to stress that this in no way is a Ferrari hating episode. I just wanted to update you really on what happened to the car and let you know the full story from my point of view. I'm still a lifelong Ferrari obsessive and I still love the brand, and I'm sure I'll buy many models in the future. But this is the full 812 Superfast story and the reasons behind it. And you're right, it hasn't yet arrived on the channel. What many of you probably don't know is that I actually went over to Italy to see the unveiling of this car at the Ferrari Fiorano test track in February 2017. Back then it was just called the F12M, M for Modificato. I placed my order on Valentine's Day, 14th of February, before the name Superfast was announced. I had faith that Ferrari would create a genuinely incredible car, and even though I knew nothing about it, I still slapped down my deposit and waited the car eagerly. The 812 Superfast was then formally launched in 2017, and it was the successor to 2012's F12 Berlinetta, and it continues a long line of powerful front-engined rear-wheel drive V12 GT cars from Ferrari. This bloodline includes the F12, the 599 GTB, the 612 Scaglietti, and of course the 550 and 575 Maranellos. The 812 is the first Ferrari with electric power steering. It's got the rear wheel steer from the TDF. It's ludicrously powerful at 789 brake horsepower. And of course it's got that masterpiece 6.5 litre V12 engine, up from 6.2 litres on the F12. And with all that, it still handles. To me, it's the complete package. Now I remember in June 2017, I was properly off because a load of YouTubers got to drive the 812 Superfast in Italy, and as a customer I couldn't get my hands on this car. I was so annoyed about that, and actually that may have contributed to the start of the Car Guys channel. When Jason and I drove the car finally in 2018 on its own and versus the TDF, we knew immediately it was one of the all-time great Ferraris, and this increased my excitement for the impending car. So I ordered the car in 2017 and I pushed pretty hard initially to try and get a spec in so that I could get the car early, but I really wasn't getting much luck with that. By the end of 2018 I still hadn't got my spec into Ferrari. And certainly at this point I went quiet on the car and was then more excited about some of the other cars that were arriving, including a Pista. After some more badgering, both from Ferrari to me and me to Ferrari, we managed to spec the car finally in September 2019, 2.5 years after I had put down the deposit. If you remember the Car Guys specking episode, we had a lot of fun and I decided to homage a classic 275 GTB C Speciale by Scaglietti. It was a really classy spec, I thought, one that was going to be quite expensive, and it included some pretty pricey options, including a stripe that went all the way over the car and right down the back to the exhaust pipes. This was not going to be a cheap car, but it was an awesome spec and I was really excited to see it in real life. And now we get to the real meat of this week's episode. What on earth has happened to my 812 Superfast? And apart from when I'm going to announce the replacement for my F40, this is the most asked question from all of you. So what's happened to the 812 Superfast? Well, regrettably and somewhat predictably, I've cancelled it. Yes, I know, but it had to be done. And now I'll tell you why. Yes, I know it's disappointing, annoying, frustrating, demoralising, and lots of other words that end in ing. There are many reasons for it, and I'll take you through them right now. Number 1. It was ridiculously late. Remember, I ordered this in February 2017, and it still wasn't here at the start of 2020. That, for me, is an unacceptably long time. Number 2. All my friends, literally everyone who had ordered an 812 Superfast already had theirs, and in many cases they'd had their first annual service, and in some cases they've even sold them and moved on or swapped into a GTS. I literally felt like the last person to get a dance at a wedding. I still to this day don't really know how it happened. Yes, I was quite tardy in getting a spec to Ferrari, but then they were also quite relaxed about trying to get it from me. I'm assuming because there were lots of other customers who were going to get it before me. Number 3. To be honest, it felt a little bit like I was being punished by Ferrari. Now maybe that's because I wasn't too kind about the Portofino. I think the Portofino is definitely out for the car guys. And I have been fairly outspoken in my views of things that I don't like about the company's practices. If I'd have known that I was going to lose more than £70,000 buying this car, I would have just said. But also, I am incredibly enthusiastic about the company. I love it. I buy many of their cars and I plan to buy many more in the future if I can. But being one of the first deposits, but then the last people to get the car, it did feel like I was being chastised for some reason. Number 4. The launch of the GTS had a fairly devastating effect on the residual values of the 812 Superfast. There were also many other factors. I mean, there were lots of economic conditions as well, but this all culminated in the fact that used values of the 812s were plummeting, and therefore the deficit that I would have between the full purchase price and what it was actually worth was vast. You can now pick them up for a little over £200,000, and these are cars that were bought new with low mileages still, less than 1,000 miles, and they were anywhere between £350,000 and £400,000 new. That is serious depreciation, and it was more than I felt I could bear. Number 5. It was going to cost me at least £400,000 for this car because it's the flagship Ferrari, and obviously I'd gone a bit bonkers with the options, again thinking that that was a good thing to do. But it was a huge chunk of change for this car, and you know what, in the current climate it kind of felt a bit wrong. Number 6. Changes in my personal situation also impacted on the decision to keep it. And to be brutal, I decided to keep the 488 Pista Spider over the 812 Superfast. And finally, number 7. So all of these factors meant that if I was going to take possession of the 812 Superfast, I was going to lose at least £150,000 in terms of overall value. And remember, this wasn't a car that I was intending to keep forever, unlike some of my other Ferraris. So pre-owned value in this case did actually mean something. And to make matters worse, it sort of felt like I was a bit of an idiot for waiting this long and for putting up with it, when it had already been superseded by the GTS and lose a fortune in the process. Everything seemed wrong about that decision. So in the end, even though I absolutely love Ferrari, still do, always will, this for me was the right decision. So there you have it. You've all been asking, and now you know exactly what's happened to my car. That's it. No 812 and no 812 GTS for me. At least I've got the 488 Pista Spider to enjoy in the meantime. If I was in a different stage of my life, then I probably would have tolerated the loss, but unfortunately right now, that just wasn't possible. And yes, I can pick up one used, close to my spec, for probably about £230,000, but to be honest, that's probably just rubbing salt into the wounds. Will Ferrari be annoyed by my decision? Yes. Will it understand the reasons for me doing it? Possibly. Will it affect my chances of getting new exciting Ferraris in the future? Yes. Yes, I think it probably will, but I do not think I was in line to get one of the new hot 812s, whether it's called a GTO or not. Has it damaged my relationship with Ferrari? Well, hopefully not. I'm pretty sure it will understand my reasoning, and because I bought so many cars in the past, hopefully they won't take it too badly. But perhaps something that I did after this might affect the relationship a bit more, but we'll leave that for a future episode. And with the sound of a 488 challenge car in the background, thank you for watching this episode on the 812 Superfast and what happened to it. I hope you can understand my reasoning. I hope you're not too gutted, but it just had to be done. If you like what we're doing on The Car Guys, please subscribe to the channel, leave comments and likes, we really do appreciate it. If you want to buy some merchandise, please check it out below this video and also from our website. And if you want to visit our website, it's TheCarGuys.TV. And don't forget to also find us on Instagram, TheCarGuys.TV. There will be another Car Guys episode along next week.